2 p.m. Central Time, February the 6th. I'm Leon Davis, and you're listening to Altitude Adjustment, the podcast about people, politics, and professions. I want to thank you very much for joining me this week. So we decided to take a break from some of the heavy stuff, and we're going to just kind of get to give you an opportunity to get to talk about our favorite movies, and you could join in. We'd love to hear from you, and that's coming up right now. This program is intended for mature audiences only. Altitude Adjustment may contain language, images, or other content that some may find offensive. Your discretion is advised. Welcome to Altitude Adjustment. Here,
Hey, Warren.
you know what happens here? So I just figured out in OBS, when you change the scenes, so Warren will know, he's worked with it. Leonard won't be. So I create all of these scenes. So you saw that the introduction, when I did the introduction, the background of the lion, and then you had the two videos running, and then now we're at the last scene, or the main scene. Well, each one of those scenes has audio settings. So if I change the microphones, then it automatically changes the microphones per scene, and I didn't know that before. So here I am, I'm changing scenes, and I'm noticing that the audio is, muted, and things are going crazy. So now I have to do that real quick so people could hear what's going on. So there's some technical challenges here, but I am fast and I'm good at this stuff. So
You're bragging now. Look out.
if I got somebody's got to pat me on the back.
You know what happened when you start sticking your chest out?
That's true
There
too.
you go. There you go. A virtual pat on the back.
Well, thank you. Somebody appreciates my hard work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
All righty. So this week we're going to talk about some of our favorite viewing habits. So I don't do much television, series like I don't watch a lot of television because they usually don't have a lot of content that I like, and plus I'm always working on putting the show together and stuff like that. But it's been years, and I'm not much of a television person, but I love movies. I'm a big movie person. So for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and sometimes the 2.5 hour. What do you think? Let me ask you that question. What do you think of the epic movie where the movie runs for 2 hours and 15 minutes or 2 hours and 25 minutes? You think that's a good use of your time?
It depends on
Yeah.
in the movie, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, if you set that aside for being entertained and you watch the movie to be entertained, if you set aside 2 or 3 hours for entertainment and you're watching a good movie that you enjoy, or if it's like you and your family, y'all enjoy, then so be it. Like yesterday, I watched a couple movies with my wife and my daughter on cable. That was a side benefit for us. The main reason we got the cable was for the kids to be in school, distance learning. And by the way, they both made honor roll this week. So thank you. So we're watching movies with my wife and my daughter, and I got to sit back in a chair she bought me to rest in, kick my feet up, and it was good. It was a good use of time. I dozed off a couple of times, took a couple of naps, and we're still watching some movies. So it was a good use of time. And my family, we like going to movies anyway. So pre-pandemic levels, we were going to the theaters at least 3 or 4 times a month to watch movies. That was something we enjoyed doing.
So you were saying something, Warren? What is your thought on these 2.5, 2 hour movies?
Um, it depends on how exciting the movie is, if it can hold your attention, Um, to be honest with you, I can watch a 2 hour movie easier than I can sit up and talk to somebody 2 hours on the phone or whatever. 'Cause
Well, of course, I'm not a super phone person either. Oh, no, I'm like you. After about 15 minutes, I've said everything I want to say on the phone.
right.
Yeah.
It
So,
depends on the content.
so
Good
there are very
story.
few. I've seen several, 2.5 hour, 2 hour plus movies, and um, I a couple of them I found I enjoyed, but most of the time, I'm not into a 2 hour movie. Give me an hour and a half, and maybe it's conditioning because movies for an hour and a half, 90-minute movies were pretty much the standard for a long time. And with an hour and a half movie, I've seen them do so much and give me so much entertainment, and then I can move on to another type of entertainment. 2 hours kind of ties me up, even though it seems like an additional 30 minutes. It seems to take so much longer, and they're still telling me the same story. I kind of like to see maybe a couple of different movies in that, in a 3 hour time period. So, yeah, I'm not big on 2 hour movies, but like you said,
Yeah.
sometimes the content can capture me for 2 hours.
Well, I think science has shown what the average person's attention span is going to be, and that's why they kind of gear them. They kind of have that 90 minutes in mind, and that's what they shoot for. But sometimes story just might be too big, or they just have so much that they feel they have to say. But I think they focus on what they think your attention span is going to be, pretty much.
Yeah, so I don't know how to take that comment. I don't know if you're attacking my
No,
my
well,
attention
I'm
span.
sorry. I didn't mean it personally. I meant for people in general. It's not
I
just for
meant that
the average.
jokingly.
You know what I'm
I meant
saying?
that jokingly. I'm just
Hey,
giving you a hard time.
hey,
Well,
I'm not,
it's
they
just
keep
about
me
what
30 minutes sometimes because my mind is always all over the place.
it's just about what people's attention spans are.
Hmm.
Uh, like when I used to do my educational talk to kids when I was still a firefighter, and you have to base it upon what the kids' attention spans are. If you are dealing with a bunch of 5 and 6 year olds and you're trying to do a 1 hour lecture, you're not going to get much. But you had to chop it up into 5 and 10 minute sections.
Hmm.
Then you let them put hands on it or crawl or do something. Then you 5 or 6 more, and you do that.
Oh yeah.
Older kids, I can do it longer. But again, it's just like the American education system. Women
Okay, so
tend
we've
to
kind of gotten
get
away from
more.
movies. We've kind of gotten away from movies.
Yeah.
I want
Okay.
to kind of get back to movies. So um, there was a time when I had a favorite movie, and now I kind of have a favorite movie per genre of movie. So
Mhm.
do you find that that's the same for you?
Yes,
Not
because
really.
like I have a few movies that I like to go to if I want to laugh or if I
Mm-hmm,
need to laugh. I
mm-hmm,
pull up certain movies like Smokey and the Bandit.
mm-hmm.
That one always get me laugh. For the Police Academy movie, that
Oh,
gets me laughing.
yeah.
So
Uh,
so Leonard, so let me say, like, Leonard is my natural brother, and one of the things I love about Leonard is if pick a movie and Leonard can give you quotes out of that movie like nobody's business. I mean, so even movies that I love that I've seen like 8 or 9 times, he comes up with quotes that I have completely forgotten about. And I'm like, man, how do you remember that mess? so
The
so he's a
recorder.
huh?
He's got that recorder going
He
in his brain.
does. He does. When it comes to movies and politics, Leonard's brain is like an elephant's. It's like a vice. It's like a vault. He just holds that stuff, man, forever. He was talking about stuff about I'm not gonna get into politics, but it's just he comes up with
Right.
that stuff.
Right. I hear you.
But as far
I'm
as
just the total opposite.
you
I'm lucky if I can remember if I liked it or not.
know, and that's usually how I judge it. I remember if I liked it or not, and then I'll go back and watch it instead of retaining all that other stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
I went and watched Lucy yesterday, day before yesterday. Um, I remembered that I liked the movie, and then I went back and I watched it, and I realized there was a few scenes in the movie that I liked, but overall, the movie wasn't that super great, but it was enjoyable. There were a few scenes that were like really good,
Mm-hmm.
but because I love special effects, I love science fiction, and then as a guy, like shit blowing up. I just blow up shit and I'm good.
They blow shit up in Lucy, man.
Huh?
They blow up in Lucy.
So what did she blow up? I'm trying to think. Well, she did blow up some shit. Well, okay, so they sold the drugs in her system in her belly, and the bag busted, and that's how she started getting her powers. And then they had her locked up in this room, and so the guy comes in and she subdues him, puts a bullet in his head, and then she walks down the hallway and kills 5 other guys. I mean, so there was some, shoot them up and blow them up shit in there, but a lot of it was like the cerebral shit and,
Oh, okay.
so I remembered like there were things about the movie that I liked. But when I went back and looked at it, it wasn't, huh?
I never saw Lucy.
Oh, you didn't see Lucy?
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
I think it was
Now I
enjoyable.
have that on my list now.
Did you watch it, Leonard?
I have not. Now, Lucy, we talking about like Lucille Ball Lucy or some other Lucy?
No,
Talking about them,
there was
you
a
explaining it.
huh?
That's what I was thinking originally, but
Yeah,
then-
well, he got to explain it, and I'm like, that's not Lucille Ball.
No.
no, we got a science fiction film he's talking about.
What's her?
Okay.
What's her? Yeah, science. It was Morgan Freeman and
Oh, okay.
what was her name? Hold on.
Ashley Judd? No.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was enjoyable as a movie, and I think she I think played the part excellently. It was good I enjoyed her acting, and I enjoyed the storyline. And I'm a science buff too, so there was that aspect of it that I enjoyed. But there were so many parts of the movie that kind of,
trailer?
huh?
Can we play the trailer?
Yeah, I think we can play the trailer. Well, that for copyright issues,
Oh, that's right. You want to do the disclaimer?
we can do the disclaimer, but since I don't have it set up, we'll
Okay, we'll pass on it.
pass on it this time.
Okay.
Okay.
So one of my all-time favorites is I'll be back.
Terminator.
Terminator.
Schwarzenegger.
The
The Governator.
government. Yeah, I'll be back. Now, see, I can remember a lot of scenes in that movie. So
Yeah.
that one was I probably have watched that movie 9 or 10 times.
Well, it's just like me with the Smokey and the Bandit series.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one at one time in Smokey and the Bandit 3, I think. And Jackie, all the stuff is going on. And Jackie Gleason looks at it and said, I'm surrounded by lunatic. And it, and I was thinking about that and all the stuff that was going on around it. It's like I understood what he meant. I understood.
So you've had that feeling before.
I've had that feeling before. It's like there's 3 or 4 things going around me, and it's like, man, I'm surrounded by crazy folks. I see crazy people.
That feeling too.
Oh, now that I see crazy people. That's kind of a take on what was that movie?
Yeah,
The
I
Bruce Willis
forgot the
movie.
name of the movie.
Yeah,
Jack Nicholson.
no, it was Bruce
No, the
Willis.
boy goes, I see
I see dead people.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I knew that. I knew what he was trying to. Yeah, say. It was a take on that
and
movie.
it's for me.
I see
It was
crazy
crazy
people.
folks.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a mix of Jackie Gleason saying he's surrounded by lunatics, and the boy saying, I see dead people.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it's the movies uh that I see, and just the old shows, and just even some of the new shows. Like, I'm taking some time in the last couple of years to see some TV
hmm
because I had to spend a few stretches in a hospital
hmm
Mm.
and at a nursing home, and there's not a lot to do, but to sit there and watch TV.
Right.
And this time in my convalescence, I got hooked on Chicago PD.
hmm
And I watched that, and I see the repeat. And I remember one convalescence a few years ago, I got hooked on a show called Seventh Heaven.
Hmm.
Now that's an
And
old one, isn't it?
yeah, that's an old one.
That's an old
And
one.
that was when that was out, there was a period where I had to spend a week or two in the hospital, and a few months after that at home recuperating.
So who was the lead in that?
I forget his name, but the setting was a
Jessica
church
Alba was in that,
family.
wasn't she? Was that the one?
Jessica Alba, no, not Alba. I forgot her name. She's married to Justin Timberlake now. That
Okay.
actress. She was a
Okay.
daughter in the family,
hmm
and the dad was a pastor,
hmm
the
Right.
mom was first lady, and
Yeah.
they, it was just talking about their lives.
Mhm.
One of my favorite, funniest movies was "I'm Gonna Get You Sucker."
A black exploitation. Black exploitation. Oh, how could you not love that movie? I'm gonna get you, sucker. That was
And I
insane.
remember that was the last time when that was out brand new.
hmm
That was the last time I went to a theater and saw every seat taken in the show.
hmm
And then they let more people in. So there was 3 rows of people in the front, 3 rows deep, sitting on the floor
Wow.
watching that.
Are you
Wow.
kidding?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. That's how funny and popular that movie was.
Mm.
Uh, so I've liked these movies, and now during this pandemic, we got all these different streaming services now
hmm
Yeah.
showing them at our house.
hmm
They're showing them at our house, and I didn't realize how many of the streaming services were free. So I looked up on the Consumer Reports website,
hmm
Oh yeah.
and they were showing all these different
Free site.
streaming services were free.
hmm
Like IMDb is one that I watch. I found out I watch.
So they've got
If you
streaming
got-
on IMDb.
Yeah, what it is with IMDb, you watch the movie, you got to have cable and internet. or
Oh
you gotta
yeah.
have
Okay.
internet
I see what you're saying.
and have an Amazon Fire Stick. You can watch the movies for free as long as you take the commercials and the ads.
Right. Right.
Well, wait a
And
minute.
I
Wait a
was
minute. Wait a
just
minute.
like,
Wait.
okay.
So you're saying that you have to have a Fire Stick to watch movies on IMDb?
Or a Roku.
Yes, or Roku TV,
Mhm.
which you still have to have
So you
internet.
can't do it from the site. So they've got an app on one of the streaming sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Hulu, you got Vudu, and
So you got
now
Smart
you
TV.
can even get the YouTube Premium on Amazon now.
hmm
Because at first you couldn't do it because Google and Amazon
Oh,
couldn't get
competitors and all
together
that
on
good stuff. Yeah.
a mutual license, but you
Mhm.
could do it now. And like I said, I was on Consumer Reports researching this topic. And Consumer Reports got a whole guide of free streaming services,
Mhm.
where you can get them, how you can get them.
Mhm.
Some of them you have to watch the ads that come up,
Mhm.
or if you're willing to pay for the premium service, you can get it with no ads.
Mhm.
Like YouTube is another one; you can get it with no ads.
Mhm. So there's so 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 we had talked about touching up on how they try to get money out of you. So like
Right.
the streaming services will give you some free content and then lock up the other content behind a paywall. In that, so Peacock.tv is a new streaming service, and
From NBC.
right from NBC. And so I went out there, ran across it by just sheer happenstance and doing some research, and I ran across it. And one of my favorite programs was the old Law and Order, the original. And they had Law and Order SVU streaming for free. But the old Law and Order, which was older,
Right.
you had to pay to get to that one.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm thinking,
Because it's in demand. It's
Right.
in demand.
it's in demand. So, but the content is older. It's a, you know, there is more content out there than any million people can watch over a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's not, they're not basing their prices on providing a service for you. They're basing their prices on showing you content that you want. Now, that may sound okay, but for me is, what work are you doing that I'm paying you for? The Law and Order SVU, or Law and Order, is a program that, so I did a show about copyright law way back before you guys joined me. And the thing about copyright law is that at some point, material should go into the public domain
Right.
because, you know, the original creator has recovered or covered the cost of creating that content. But what's happening is the streaming companies are locking away, or the content creators are locking away that content so that they can, in perpetuity, charge you to watch that when they've already been paid for that.
So how are they doing that? Are they just buying it?
And so part of it is that they give so you create a piece of content and you copyright the content.
Okay.
Originally, you were given 15 years before the content went into public domain. So that meant for 15 years, you controlled the content. At the end of 15 years, that content was in public domain and it belonged to society at that point. And so anybody could get to it, etc. Well, of course, they made changes to the copyright law,
Right.
and now copyright is 50 years with a chance to renew for another 50 years.
Oh man.
Okay? So by locking away all of that content, you get to control who gets to show that content. You get to
and
control
collect fees from it.
and can collect fees from it for 100 years. So your kids collect. So you have a situation where you can create a movie, and your grandkids can go to college off that movie,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie never
Or
goes
that
into
song was written and what
yeah, and it never goes back into the public domain, so that
Wow.
other people can take that content and build upon it. You know, whereas like you and I, you said, hey, let's show the trailer and stuff. Well, if that movie was in public domain, then we could go back and take a few clips,
Right.
show those clips, laugh and joke about those clips, and have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if we go back and show a clip, the copyright owner can come and say, hey, you need to pay me for that.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because it never goes into the public domain. It never becomes, they can pass that copyright on to their kids, to their grandkids, to their great grandkids. and one of the things that I pointed out is, as we copyright everything, so you can copyright names, you can copyright phrases, you basically can copyright words, you can copyright a picture. So at some point, we can reach a point where anything you create, you're going to be in violation of somebody's copyright. And so, let's say you go out, shoot a movie about migration pattern of flamingos,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody owns a copyright of a movie about the migration of flamingos in North America. You could potentially be in violation of their copyright, and they can get a piece of your work because we've granted copyrights in such a way that it becomes easier and easier to violate a copyright, because somebody can copyright something really simple, and then you get into a potential court case about your copyright. So I think we do a disservice by not, going by having copyrights, last so long. So like Disney,
Oh yeah.
they pull a movie out of the vault every Christmas or every couple of years or so. Then they get money off of it, they put it back in the vault.
Right.
And if you even show a picture of it, they're going to viciously fight you, because they know that by keeping that movie from being streamed regularly, that they can pull it out at a certain time and charge a premium, because you want your kids to see it, and it's only going to be out available for 6 months or 2 months. And so so we're using copyrights, I think, in the wrong way.
Well, that depends on who owns copyright. They think that's a good
Well-
thing, 'cause, that keeps the money in their pocket, and the public suffers because they don't get access to it.
Okay.
Yes, they pay.
Okay.
Well, here's what happened with that. I took a class in intellectual property law, which included copyrights,
Mm-hmm.
service marks, trademark, and things. And what they did, they tried to encourage individuals to create things and get paid for them and give them some protection, and not just let big corporations, multi-million-dollar, multi-billion-dollar conglomerates take all the money out of that, because there are a lot of talented people with the ability to create these things that don't work for these big companies and conglomerates to make these movies and get paid for it as well. Like, there's a good documentary on YouTube talking about One Last Deal, the making of the movie Superfly back in the 70s. And when it wasn't made by a major studio. The people that created it tried to get one of the big studios to make it, and they wouldn't touch it. So they got a guy that went and got money and raised money to make this movie. Now they get to market this movie and make money, and not just some big multi-million-dollar people come in and take it over and crush the little guy and say, well, you don't get to make money off of this. This is just for the multi-billion-dollar people to make profit.
Mm-hmm.
And Leon and I had this discussion before, and I said, as long as there's money to be made off of it, the original creator should be able to make a dime off of it. As I've gotten older, I can see the thing about you making this thing forever unavailable to the public.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, but I like the Superfly because they said the first theater to show it, this theater in New York, the line to get in went around 2 blocks around from the theater for people to try to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, like, what I used to do, that's how I found YouTube about 7 or 8 years ago. I went to look online to see certain movies that weren't out in the theater. Like, I liked Black Bill Jones as a kid, and I wanted to see that again. So I looked it up. It was on YouTube, and I was able to see it. Now, after a few years, I guess the people that own the intellectual property to the movie took it off where I could rent it and see it on YouTube, or I could even order a copy to purchase from YouTube, but I couldn't see it in old movie form. I could see clips sometimes, like the dojo scene, for example, or the railroad car scene where Black Bill Jones put all the Pinky's boys on the railroad car. So you have these streaming services that you can pay for, that you can buy, and some of them offer, like I said, free versions and pay for services. They call them premium, that you pay $5 a month, $12 a month, and you can see everything they got, or you can see it free with ads, or the free version don't show you as many titles as it did. But that's how things evolve. And I noticed that on YouTube, I'm starting to see movies again that was on there before and they took off and made you pay for it. Now they putting it back on.
Well, that's
like
the pandemic
James Bond
stuff.
movies. I'm a James Bond fan.
Mm-hmm. So,
and they started putting some of those movies back on without charging you for it.
So I don't want to stop you, but
Okay.
you brought up a point that I wanted to make before we got too far away from it.
Okay.
And the point is that you made that they have movies on there that you can rent or you can watch for free with commercials. And what some of the streaming companies were doing was, so they'll make that movie available for you to watch with commercials to try to get you to drum up interest in the paid services. But then they may take those movies back and try to make you pay for them. So the streaming service, so you mentioned YouTube. So
Mm-hmm.
So YouTube comes up with a streaming service, and and they're not getting they're not getting customers,
Subscribers.
subscribers.
Yeah.
So they're gonna make some of those movies for free.
Mhm.
Hulu did what I'm going to talk about. So at one point there was a free version of Hulu and then a paid version of Hulu. When their subscriber base reached a certain point, they eliminated the free version.
Yeah, I think that's when I got on it. The free version was gone.
So the whole thing is, we're only going to offer you something until we can make everything that we want off of you.
Mhm.
So you can pay right now. You can pay for Hulu. So you buy a Hulu subscription. That's not the end of how they're going to try to get money out of you.
Mhm.
No, it never ends.
Because the next thing that they're going to try to do is they're going to collaborate with HBO. HBO has its own streaming service, but HBO says, look, I know you got people on there willing to pay you. So here's what I'll do. I'll sell some of my content so that your Hulu listeners can pay extra to watch some of my HBO stuff.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Huh?
Yeah. It just
Yeah.
bill just gets bigger and bigger.
It just gets bigger and bigger.
Mhm.
So the whole thing behind the streaming services was to cut the ties with the cable companies,
Right.
Right.
because people were saying, hey, I'm buying stuff I don't want. I'm paying for stuff I don't want. I got a 695 channels and can't watch any of this shit because it's not what I want.
Yeah.
Right.
There's 3 channels out of 699 channels or 700 channels. There's 3 I watch on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you won't let me buy just those 3 and cut my cable bill. So
Right.
now we got the streaming companies going. We're going to give you just enough content to get your money, and then if you want even better content, you need to give us more money.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, everything is designed business-wise to get in your pocket.
To get in your pocket.
They want to get in your pocket. So you think it cable. Now my wife remembers when cable just first became popular in the St. Louis area, when people first started to get it. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, there wasn't so many commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we got cable and I'm watching TV, I try to get me about 3 or 4 channels that I flip off in between
Mm-hmm.
about the commercials. See, I don't want to. I had the thing about paying for TV in the first place. But if I'm paying for TV, I don't want to pay to watch commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So I'm supposed to pay people to show me stuff that's strictly designed to get more money out of my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying for TV. I'm paying for content. I'm not paying for commercials.
But that's not you. You want to pay for content, but you are
Right.
paying for commercials.
You are paying for commercials because this is what they're gonna. This is what you're gonna do.
That's what they're gonna do.
If you want to watch TV, that's what you're forced. That's what you're forced to do.
The whole idea behind the commercials. So when free TV was popular, the whole idea of the commercials is that it paid for the content. That's why it was free. It was free to be because the commercials paid for the content to provide you the content.
Right.
So if you're paying money for commercial television, then what they're doing is they're collecting money from advertisers and they're collecting money
Mhm.
from you for the
Yep.
exact same content because it's not enough. I remember when a
Right.
commercial break was 5 or 6 minutes. A commercial breaks now 8 or 9 or 10 minutes. There's commercials after commercials after commercials,
Mhm.
and they even put it in your face that a Super Bowl commercial is $1 million
For a 30-second ad.
for 30, and people are going, yeah, this is awesome. But you do know that the company that paid the $1 million is going to get their money back when you walk through the door.
Mm-hmm.
So when that commercial costs them $1 million, you're going to give it back to them if you buy their products.
Right.
Mhm.
So you're paying $1 million for those commercials.
And the Super Bowl is considered, people have gotten to the point that they're watching the Super Bowl now on TV just to see the commercial ads, who's
Yeah.
doing what,
For sure.
who's going to do what. I mean, look at Bud Light and their Spuds McKenzie, the little dog walking around.
Okay, we're getting
selling
away
beer
from
in the
movies.
Clyde still selling beer.
I mean, I don't want to pick it. I want us to get back towards something a little lighter. We went off on the copyright stuff, and I knew we were going to talk about that. But we can do another whole show on the Super Bowl ads and all.
Yeah.
It's so it's enjoyable to watch movies. I don't have a problem with commercial television. Commercials are, I think, necessary part of our society. That's how we learn about new products. That's how we learn about new businesses. That's how we learn about other things in our society. So commercials are good. And I don't like the idea of like HBO streaming nothing but HBO stuff and you pay. I like the commercial idea that we're going to show commercials to pay for content. It breaks up the movie. I can live through that. I like watching a movie uninterrupted by commercials, but like we would like to advertise our business. We have our podcast and we'd like to advertise it. We'd like for people to look at commercials so that we can run our commercials. And I'm going to run our commercial break real quick after this so that we can go back to movies. But commercials are a good thing. I think it can be if it's not dominated by $1 million spots. $1 million spots.
What commercials?
We can't pay $1 million for a spot.
Right.
Suddenly I seem like a whiny person going, oh, we can't pay $1 million for a commercial, so you shouldn't show them. And that's not why I say $1 million commercials are bad. $1 million commercials are bad because $1 million commercial is going to do the exact same thing a $30 commercial is going to do.
Promote a product.
Promote a product.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
and commercials make it possible for us to have TV, to show the movies that we want to see, to show these things. So.
All right, I'm gonna take a quick break, show our little spots that from people who have been on our show. Next week, or not next week, week after next, we did get some the young ladies I was telling you about, so-called Oreos. They've agreed to come onto the show, and I meant to tell you that before the show started, but we got into that political discussion. So we'll be right back.
I know you care about the environment, and maybe you want to learn more about sustainability and climate action. Then join me on the Climate Conscious podcast, where my guests and I discuss the issues of sustainability related to the Caribbean and beyond. Together, we'll explore practical solutions for managing our impact on the planet. Tune in every other Wednesday on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. And follow me on Instagram at The Climate Conscious.
Welcome to the So-Called Oreos podcast,
a podcast where Kia, Amari,
Rachel,
and Janae discuss all the awkwardness, hardship, and hilarity that comes along with society labeling you white on the inside and black on the outside, also known as an Oreo.
Trying to mind my business and be black, that's basically about it.
Through intimate conversation and candid interviews, we discuss everything from quote-unquote talking white.
You talk the way, which I guess is supposed to be like you talk proper, and I usually think black people sound ghetto and uneducated. That's how I perceive when you say you talk so white.
You mean you don't speak Ebonics?
Traveling while black.
It opened my eyes to a lot of just the small privileges Americans have, and then it also opened my eyes to, as a person of color, how difficult it may be to go to another country. It was just a lot of blatant racism.
Dating as a black woman.
There's just something about the black woman who just really wants to support and see the black man thrive. And even if I'm not in a relationship with a black man, I'm still like
Gonna root for them.
I'm still rooting
I'm always
for
gonna
them.
root for you.
I'm always.
And a whole lot more.
I just love being black.
So join us every other Tuesday for intellectual and funny conversations that will make you embrace your inner Oreo.
I'ma light your shit on fire. That's
I'm gonna
it.
tell your mama. What's up?
What if it's
Roberta, yo, son cheated on me.
But you know, some mama be like, well, that's what men do, so why you surprised?
Exactly.
No. Old-timey bullshit. I ain't having it.
That's not okay.
Experience Altitude Adjustment, a weekly podcast about people, politics, and professions. It's built around user interaction, so join the conversation by visiting the Lions Den, stl.wixsite.com/home. Alrighty, very good. So those young ladies, so-called Oreos, are going to join us on the 20th. Make sure that you are here. I think that's going to be a great conversation. So they get to.
I'm looking forward to them.
Yeah, I wanna talk about their experiences, about why they started their podcast. I think we've all dealt with a situation where we've either heard somebody say or had somebody say to us, you sound white, and I think that's an interesting dynamic in the black neighborhood or in the black community, and it would be interesting to talk to them about that. So anyway, that's coming up. And the beauty of that commercial is that it's advertising. The whole idea is to make people aware of products and services. So I'm gonna ask. Go ahead.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. So give me a favorite movie.
Well, I think you already know my favorite movie. I think we did talk about it before.
Probably what? What was it?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Original.
The original one? Wow. You're a big sci-fi guy, huh? Or
Pretty much.
just that one?
There's certain ones, that it had so many different elements that I was interested in. The human connectedness, the fact that the guy was actually attracted to this android or whatever you call him. Yeah, I was interested.
Right. I like that one. Again, it's not too often that I find a sci-fi movie that I didn't like. So yeah, sci-fi I just love. Give me a favorite movie, Lynn.
I like The Equalizer with Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
And just seeing Denzel play the character of an action hero, beating up folks and being protective and as well as what he did with the one young African American boy, showing him to basically uphold himself, have some pride about himself, being a man of his word. So it was the action as well as him holding the guy up to be accountable, be a man.
Mm-hmm. Now that wasn't in.
That's what I like.
That wasn't in. That was not a part of Equalizer.
I think that was Equalizer too.
No, I think he's talking about
Equalizer first one.
I think he was talking about the guy that he worked with at the hardware store. The one that the guard that was trying to the guard that was trying to
one.
Right. Okay.
And he was in Equalizer 2, he was an Uber driver. Uber driver.
I like that.
And you know he went back to the apartment.
Right. That was the best scene
the
to me.
And beat them up. That was a great scene.
Well, he went and he was like, so the guy says, "Old man, you picked the wrong door today." He looked at his watch. He set his timer.
Yeah, he always looked at his watch and he timed
it. He set that timer. It was over. It says so a lot of times these movies have some great quotes. Just friggin' awesome. But the Equalizer series, I liked the fact that in his early movies, he played different characters and stuff. It was in his latter movies that he started to become an action hero or an action player, and the Book of Eli.
Training Day.
I liked I liked that transition for him, and I think that was the same for Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis did a lot of different parts, in his earlier, and then he starts to become an action hero. But at that time, action heroes, those action movies started to become really popular. The big shoot 'em ups, So I'm a big fan of those. Probably one of my favorites is G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to remember that one. I remember seeing it.
Oh man.
But I'm just not remembering all the things.
Oh, it just because it's got a lot of science fiction. They got these exoskeletons, and they can outrun motorcycles, and it was just and the one thing I like about it is the soundtrack. So I like to watch that movie, and I like to turn it up to the point where the walls are shaking. I mean, just the explosions and the sound effects were just incredible. Just incredible.
I was thinking about what you said, the quotes, and I'm remembering Denzel Washington Training Day, where at one point he goes, "And King Kong ain't got nothing on me."
What did I tell you about? Leonard remembers everything.
Yeah.
When it comes to a movie, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Huh? What'd you say, Warren?
Now you make it.
No, I'm trying to remember that line.
Oh, how could you forget that?
Not know me.
I have watched that like 4 or 5 times on YouTube.
And I'm thinking of going through, my mind is going through the Smokey and the Bandit movies, and I'm remembering some of the quotes there. It was killer, man. It was killer.
So one of my favorites movies to listen to quotes or listen to song was Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
The new version, not the old one. There's a black and white version, and then there's one I think like from the 90s. And Levi Stubbs, I think, played the plant.
Yeah.
The mean green mother from outer space. Oh, that song was insane.
I'm the mean green mother from
Outer space, and I'm bad. Oh, that was just insane. That was great.
Seymour.
Feed me, Seymour. Feed me, Seymour.
And then there's Steve Martin as the doctor.
Oh, that was insane. Oh, that was insane. That was insane. Oh,
I don't even remember that. 'cause
you
I
don't
didn't
remember?
watch-
You didn't watch the movie?
Nah.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
You
just
gotta go look that up. And
Yeah.
watch. It is funny.
It is
It is
insane.
totally hilarious.
It is.
Which one is it?
Little Shop of
Little
Horrors.
Green Shop of Horrors.
Okay.
Yeah, Little Shop of Horrors.
And Levi Stubbs, the lead,
He played
the
the
old
cat
lead
of
singer of the Four
the
Tops.
Four Tops
He was the voice of the plant.
of the plant.
And
And I forgot the guy's name who was the lead.
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis. Right, Rick Moranis. Yeah, that was it. That was awesome. Huh?
So there was the original one was what, 1960, and
Right.
then there was a 1986.
In the 1986 is the color one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a
Yeah.
black and white version in the color.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shop of
you
Horrors.
got
And you know, there's a few little videos that I like to watch, pull up on YouTube and watch when I need a laugh. They're not full-blown movies, but the Wayans brothers, Ken and Ivory Wayans, created this show called
in living color.
In Living Color.
Oh yeah.
And he's got, and they did this one skit where Jim Carrey portrays the Vanilla Ice. And he goes,
Right.
and it's the song goes, White, White Baby, making of Jim Carrey, Ice Baby. That
Right.
was funny. And then Tommy Davidson pretended to be MC Hammer, and he goes, you can't touch this.
Okay.
And then he did another one where he did a skit on Michael Jackson. I don't know if I'm black or white.
Don't know.
So speaking of a skit that was awesome
Okay.
was from the Chappelle Show, and
From the Who Show?
the Dave Chappelle Show,
Okay.
and names. Normally I would remember the name, but like at the
Uh-huh.
what is it? The skit where he normally is considered a really nice guy, and he played a pimp.
Oh.
What is his name?
Oh.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Who played
I
the
think so.
Dave
was playing this pimp.
Dave Chappelle?
No, not Dave.
Oh,
Not
okay.
Dave?
Hmm.
But speaking of Dave Chappelle Show, while you try to get your memory back, I was thinking about this character he played. Dave Chappelle was playing Prince, and the singer Prince, and Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, used to be on the regular part of the cast. And he was talking about the one time the group of them went over to Prince's house to play basketball. And Prince was schooling them. And then afterwards, Prince was cooking them pancakes.
He was cooking what?
Pancakes.
Prince was cooking pancakes.
And Dave Chappelle would always do too a Rick James impersonation, which was funny, which was good. And then he did a Samuel Jackson impersonation where he get to screaming and cussing.
Wayne Brady.
He say, Wayne Brady, okay.
Wayne Brady did the played a pimp on Dave Chappelle's show. It was
Oh yeah.
they yeah, you know, it was considered out of character for him, right?
Yeah.
And that's what made it so unique and so interesting.
Right, because he's this clean cut guy.
Right,
You know?
right,
Yeah.
right.
And Dave Chappelle was riding around with him. And
Right.
at the end of the ride, he was crying. Wayne Brady was so hard that he had Dave Chappelle.
Oh, I've seen a lot of Wayne Brady videos, and that man is just talented beyond belief.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's just talented beyond belief.
He can rap, sing. He can do it.
His improv.
Dance.
He was on Whose Line Is It Anyway? His improv is
Yes.
insane. The stuff that guy comes up with, just off the top of his head, you know, just he is. I am glad that I had an opportunity to experience a Wayne Brady in my lifetime. He's just awesome. He's just awesome. So, and then that skit just cemented him as one of the premier talents, you know, in our time period. All right, so it's time for us to wrap up. You guys got any last comments?
Hey, anybody in for a Wayne Brady show? Get that man a show.
Yes. Well, you know, he had a show. So yeah, he's
Well,
just,
you know,
he's
he's
just-
got Let's Make a Deal now. He's the
Right.
host of Let's Make a Deal.
he's still doing some other things too. And that, you know, I don't. So anyway, all righty, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I'm glad you guys joined us. We'll be back next week. We haven't decided what we're going to talk about next week, but, you know, if you have some suggestions about what the things you'd like for us to talk about or shows that we'd like to present, please get a hold of us and have a great one.
Goodbye. Have a good week.
Episode of Altitude Adjustment, and thank you for listening. This podcast is streamed live on YouTube and Twitch.tv and is designed for listener interaction. Visit the website, thelionsdenstl.wixsite.com/home to join the discussion. The audio version of Altitude Adjustment is available where you get your podcasts, including Stitcher.com, the iTunes Store, and the Google Play Music Store, to name a few. Remember that the internet is powered by your likes, shares, and comments. So please like, share, and comment on this and other episodes of Altitude Adjustment because it matters. And as always, look out for the other guy because they may not be looking out for you.